In this video, I will be covering the section of the AfriForum Minority Rights Report that deals with the romanticization of violence against minorities. I start with a very concerning quote. "You are South Africans, but remember, you are Africans, living in a continent called Africa. Never despise people who are the same color as us. There are many others with a whitish color. You don't know them. They are there. You see them all the time, but you can't say that this one, kele kwere kwere." These comments were made by Ace Magashule, the current Secretary General of the African National Congress, or ANC, South Africa's ruling party. The comments were made in the heat of an outbreak of xenophobic violence directed at foreign nationals. Magashule's comments were supposed to be a condemnation of xenophobic violence, but turned out to be a racist slur in which those who were engaging in xenophobic violence were encouraged to direct their violence to white people, which the word that he uses there is a slang word for foreigners in South Africa. He continues, and I quote, "They have never been attacked because they are also so-called foreigners, but because their color is white." This led to applause from his audience of ANC supporters. Given Magashule's senior position in the ruling party and the lack of any comment from President Cyril Ramaphosa, Magashule's remarks may be interpreted as the ruling party's official stance on the xenophobic violence crisis in South Africa. Instead of taking steps to solve the violence, the ruling party's message is simply that the target of the violence should be changed. Since the early 1990s, a political climate, or zeitgeist if you will, has started to develop in which white farmers in particular are continuously presented as the source of all evil in South Africa. It is a climate in which white farmers are depicted as racist criminals who stole the land and who exploit their workers. Consequently, white farmers in particular areas are repeatedly slandered from political platforms, in speeches, in statements, and even in struggle songs. Violence towards white farmers is frequently romanticized, especially in struggle songs. These songs are not merely sung by fringe groups, but by government leaders. In 2010, the ruling ANC went to court to protect the rights of its leaders to lead its supporters into chanting of a well-known struggle song, Dubela Ibunu, translated as "Shoot the Boer," during political rallies. Even the South African president joined in. During a centenary celebration of the ANC in Bloemfontein in the Free State on the 8th of January 2012, Jacob Zuma led its supporters into song.
Awethu ozani sondelani ninenwinileyo sizobadubula ngempampa bazobaleka tu sizobadubula ngempampa bazobaleka tu Ulipun, sizogoshaya, uzotuchulwa. Ulipun, sizogoshaya, uzobaleka tu. Sizobadubula, bazobaleka tu. Sizobadubula. Azobaleka dubula Ulipunu uzogoshaya uzobaleka tu Ulipunu sizogoshaya uzobaleka tu Ikhabhinethi soyidubula Izobaleka dubula Ikhabhinethi soyidubula Izobaleka dubula Ulipun sizogoshaya uzobaleka.
It would seem inconceivable that the bearer of the highest office of state could utter these words without attracting international outrage, and yet no significant outrage followed the then president's singing of this song. Later that year, the ANC Youth League Deputy President, Ronald Lamola, who would later become the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services in the Ramaphosa cabinet, said during a press conference, and I quote, "I am just giving a warning to white South Africans. They must voluntarily bring back the land and voluntarily bring back the mineral resources. There will be a moment when these service delivery protests will invade the land of Mr. Van Tonder and Mr. van der Merwe, and we can no longer be able to guarantee the continued safety of Mr. van der Merwe." And those names that he used are just stereotypical Afrikaner or farmer names. During the ANC's 2013 election campaign, Cyril Ramaphosa, the then Deputy President of South Africa, told people that they should vote for the ANC. Otherwise, the Boers will come back into power, presumably to oppress black people. In March 2017, during a session of the National Assembly where the crisis of farm murders was discussed for the first time in the South African Parliament, ANC Member of Parliament Duduzile Promise Manana shouted, "Bury them alive," during a speech by a leader of the opposition party in which he pleaded for prioritizing of government's reaction to farm murders. Julius Malema, former ANC Youth League president, who would later break away from the ANC to form his own party, the Economic Freedom Fighters, or EFF, addressed his supporters in Newcastle in 2016, saying, and I quote, "We are not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now. The rightful owners of the land are black people. No white person is a rightful owner of the land here in SA, and the whole of the African continent." End quote. Speaking at a follow-up rally, Malema elaborated, and I quote, "We are not talking violence. We are not promoting violence, but I cannot guarantee the future. I am not a prophet. I am talking now. We are not carrying any weapons. I will never kill white people. Why should I kill them? I will never revenge for what they did. I am asking politely for the land to be returned, and if they don't return it, I cannot guarantee what will happen." End quote. He also said in another quote, and I quote, "We are not scared of Afrikaners. This is not your land. You must know your place. You are visitors here. And the long stay of visitors depends on their conduct. If you continue to misbehave, feeding our people to lions, putting our people who are still alive in the coffins, then you are applying for something else." End quote. As is the case with ANC leadership, Malema's hate speech is usually directed at white people in general, but importantly also to a certain cultural ethnic group in particular, the Afrikaners or Boers. In the month following Malema's speech about white people and Afrikaners in Newcastle, 12 farm murders were committed as opposed to the monthly average of 6.25 for that year. This constitutes an upward variance of 92% in farm murders. After Malema's repeated public singing of Dubela Ibunu, or Shoot the Boer, when he was still president of the ANC Youth League, AfriForum filed charges of hate speech against him. The ANC came to his defense by also becoming a party to the matter and defending him in court. During the court proceedings, Malema was asked why he was convinced that it was inappropriate to sing "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer," but acceptable to sing Dubela Ibunu. His response was, and I quote, "When we were discouraged to sing Kill the Boer, kill the farmer by the ANC leadership, the explanation was that the farmer is directed at a particular group of people. And what is worse is that farmers are not only white. You are going to even kill people who are part of your struggle if you want to kill farmers. So you are actually pushing away the potential supporters of your struggle when you say kill the farmer." End quote. In 2018, 7 days after Malema said that the mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay had to be removed from his office because he was white, he added that "we are cutting the throat of whiteness." South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and Deputy President David Mabuza publicly invited Malema to return to the ANC, and they said, "We would love to have Julius Malema back in the ANC. He is still ANC deep down, deep in his heart," said the president. There have also been numerous cases where white farmers were attacked or murdered, and where the attackers publicly admitted to their political or racial motives in committing these crimes. One such example was that of Nkotu Chuine, who murdered Godfrey Frederick Lans Huyer in 22 August 1992 in front of his wife. Chuine was convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. He testified that the only reason he had committed the murder was because he had been influenced by the ANC's chanting of "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer." He explained he could have killed any other white man he came across at that time, and that his frustrations were directed to white men because they had what black people did not have. This video forms part of a larger series of videos on AfriForum's report on minority rights. If you find it interesting, you can go check out the playlist that will be on my channel that has all the other videos as soon as they come up. If you're also interested in the type of content that I make, you can subscribe. And also, this is very important that these types of videos get out there to people that are interested. So you can share this video series, this video, or even the report itself with people that you think are interested or only are keeping an eye on South Africa, because it's very important that this information gets distributed to as many people that might find it interesting or even useful. And then as well, all the links that if you want to check the facts that I named in this video, all the links are in the description, so you can go check it out for yourself in your own free time. Also, if you have any comments on the content of this video, please leave a comment below the video. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.
And a lot of people fighting back against this nonsense. Conscious Caracol, whoever he or she is one of them.